Now, as tensions continue in West Asian region due to the raging Israel-Hamas war, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Jordan after voicing solidarity with Israel. Antony Blinken has visited Amman after urging Israel to stop its armed offensive on the Gaza Strip temporarily. Blinken took the initiative to allow for aid to enter Palestinian territory but faced a pushback from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And as far as allowing aid to Gaza is concerned, Tel Aviv has made its position clear to Washington that no such halt will take place unless hostages are freed by the militant group Hamas. Now in New York, the members of Organization of Islamic Cooperation or OIC expressed solidarity and support to Palestine and accused Israel of committing war crimes by depriving Palestinians from food, water and fuel. Now the OIC members also demanded an immediate ceasefire from the Israeli side.
Depriving more than 2 million Palestinians from food, water and fuel is a war crime. It's not questionable because it's killing everyone. We heard messages or voices on humanitarian pauses. We're calling for ceasefire. It's not a movie to be played to stop what we want and leave people die. A ceasefire must be called and must be called now.
Blinken arrived in Amman late last evening and he will join a meeting of foreign ministers of Jordan, UAE, Saudi, Qatar and Egypt. Now his meeting with Arab leaders will also be attended by representatives of the Palestinian Authority, which is led by President Mahmoud Abbas, a rival of Hamas. Now Blinken's visit to West Asia comes at a time when Israel is stepping up its ground operations within the Gaza Strip, where Israeli air raids have created large-scale humanitarian crisis. And after Amman, Antony Blinken will visit Tokyo, Seoul and New Delhi along with U.S. delegations. In Tokyo, Blinken will take part in second meeting of G7 foreign ministers, followed by key meetings with South Korean President and Foreign Minister in Seoul. In New Delhi, Blinken will also be joined by U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and the delegation will meet India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani sends us this report from New York. Take a look.
As he did last month, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stressed U.S. support for Israel, but this time he was also tasked with relaying the message of the White House that a humanitarian pause to the Israel-Hamas conflict would help the civilian population in Gaza. He left Israel for Amman, Jordan, to meet with Jordanian officials as well as other regional actors to talk about the release of hostages as well as preventing the war from spilling over. There is no doubt that this trip by the Secretary of State is more complex and complicated than his previous trip to the region, as the Biden administration grapples with competing international and domestic interest and anger. Also on Friday here in New York at the United Nations Security Council, member states were briefed by UN humanitarian agency OCHA of the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. On Friday as well here in New York, the Israel ambassador to the UN along with the Israeli consulate screened footage of Hamas massacres and atrocities for a group of diplomats and ambassadors as well. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World as well.